Well, congratulations. It's such a special film, and it seems like it's very. You guys make films that sort of come out of like people, places, things, stories that you run into. Because your first film was Peanut Butter Falcon,
Yeah.
which was built very much around this very specific performer, Zach. Oh, great. Thank you. Hello.
Thanks so much. We couldn't find him.
So, after you did Peanut Butter Falcon,
Yes.
what were you two sort of looking to do? Were you trying to find another magical story to tell or performer to work with? Or how did it come to be that it was Los Frikis?
Yeah. After Peanut Butter Falcon, we had a lot of opportunities to do bigger things and things that we'd seen before, and we weren't really interested in telling stories that we'd seen before. And this one was a story that was brought to us by some friends that were Cuban, and they said, can you help us make this movie? It was sort of a reprise of what happened with Zach in Peanut Butter Falcon, where he asked us to make that movie for him, and we were like, no way. Like, this one's crazy. There's so much going on there, but we couldn't get it out of our heads. And we sort of considered, if we were going to tell a story like this, we'd really need to check in with the Cuban community, with the Latin filmmaking community, and then we'd have to build the right team, because we're not equipped to make it by ourselves. So we took it to Phil Lord, who's a Cuban-American producer that did the Spider-Verse movies and the Lego movies. And he came on board, and then he said, but you need to hire my cousins and my cousin's cousins. And, before you know it, we had like 30 to 40 Cubans that were really on the team helping to make sure that we told the story the right way. And then Paco, who you see in the movie, came on. He was originally a script consultant. Like, he worked with us for 6 months to make sure that we got the Cuban details right. And at the end, when we were all happy with where the script was, he goes, I want to be in the movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, Tyler, like, we'll find him a spot, like a line or two.
He's very different than the character he played in real life. He's soft-spoken, demure, mindful, all those things.
Yeah, he's super polite. And then he said, I want to play Paco. And we're like, good luck. But he self-taped that last scene from the beach where he's like crying and relieved and passing on poetically into the next life, and maybe angry at his brother for lying to him, but relieved that he's going to be okay. There's so much going on.
I think for actors, I think that is the impossible scene. Like, I remember writing it and being like, I could never. And we'll probably never find anybody that could do this just right. And I felt like it was like watching 4 rivers of emotion all come together at once. It was phenomenal. And yeah, he did it to camera by himself in a room and did it exactly like that. And we're like, oh, be like it. And we were just like immediately like, cast him right now. He's the best.
It's so interesting because I looked him up on IMDb, and his photo on IMDb, I'm like, that's the same guy? Like, it looks like you literally like found him in an underground basement, gutter punk club. Yeah. Like, he feels like so of that world that it was shocking to see this sort of like handsome bearded man on IMDb headshot. I was like, whoa, he's like a serious theater guy. Yeah. So to see that, it felt like such a transformation.
Yeah, it speaks to his craft. He learned to play guitar.
Wow.
He learned to sing. He wrote some of the songs in the movie. He lost a bunch of weight for the body transformation.
Get in there. There's an open seat right here if you want to sit in the front.
And yeah, he just brought so much to the role.
Yeah. So when you were writing, what was the process of sort of finding that like Gustavo would be the main character through which we see this story? Because it feels like it could, like Paco could be the protagonist, but I don't know if you always had sort of like this idea of someone else sort of watching this happen to a loved one.
We're geeks for form. And so like always whose point of view is a big conversation in our writing and in features. it's for us, it's so much easier to write in a singular point of view, and we like it to be as much of the audience point of view as possible.
Yeah, an outsider coming in. So Paco, even though is a more fun, in my opinion, a very fun character, it's usually fun to play. Actors know this. Like, you get to play the wild one. It is the fun one, and that's why a lot of actors, I think, now are gravitating more towards bad guys, because they're like, oh, I have something here. And to play the straight one is actually sometimes more challenging, because you have to be really small and like just bear witness to something. And I think that was, admittedly, not a challenge, but you did that phenomenally.
Amazing,
Also,
amazing.
This is the first movie Eros has ever seen in a movie theater. Yep, and we hired him out of Havana, Cuba, and he came to see the movie and was like, I've never seen a movie in a movie theater, and I'm so proud of him. The first movie he's ever seen in a theater he stars in, and I think he deserves a lot.
Wow, congratulations.
Well, I didn't forget about you, Eros. So
I was waiting for my question.
I was giving you a big entrance.
My apologies, Katie.
That's okay.
I'm so sorry.
But how did you hear about this project and the process of auditioning? Like, what was your journey to coming to star as Gustavo?
So I heard about it because me and a friend of mine were shooting something, like a very short film somewhere, and he had heard about the audition, and he was like, hey, I'm gonna do it. So I was like, cool, good luck. I wasn't gonna audition for it. I just wasn't feeling it. And then when I was recording his audition, I was like, I'm here, so I'm gonna just send it. First I auditioned for Nestor, the blonde guy. Nothing happened, but the lady was like, hey, there's a lot of different roles, so you can come back. And then I went back and I auditioned for Sergio, the 12-year-old kid.
Oh.
And I know.
Which was amazing. Like, he honestly
Did a great job.
That's when we knew he was a great actor. Because even in this movie, you can see in the third act, he's playing older, which is like a day after he was playing younger. But he could do it the other way, too. He was playing 12 years old perfectly.
So yeah, I auditioned for that. They kind of liked it, and then like 2 days after it, they were like, "Hey, we wanna audition you for the lead," and I was like, "Damn." Okay.
Sure.
Damn.
Okay.
Avoiding the shaking, and I then did my audition. 5 days later, I got the call. I was the happiest guy in the country, just the happiest guy in whole Cuba, and it was amazing.
So what role did your friend audition for? Did he get it?
He didn't. He didn't. That's so funny. He auditioned for Nestor as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry for your friend. But that's like such an amazing story. You're like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll just do a little quick self-tape. What was it like working with Hector, who plays Paco? I mean, he seems like he's, a very serious theater actor, but the relationship you have together on screen is so special. I mean, what did you learn from him? What was the experience like, sort of working with him?
I think, the experience was beautiful. It was amazing. And I knew it was going to work from the very first moment, because I think we did something that was very smart, which is like not really rehearsed, but got to know each other better as outside of the screen. And by the time we were doing the first scene, we were brothers. We have built that weird, energetic bond, and we didn't need to be actors rehearsing. Like, we have become something deeper and more important. But seeing him as an actor is like one of the best experiences ever. He's so professional, he's so disciplined, and every single detail is so intentional. Like, even in the middle of like having a crazy character, every single piece of it, it's like I saw him kind of like thinking about it before, and like, I'm gonna add this in here and these little nuances, like so like the intentionality of it all, it just impacted me. On top of that, just the silence. That's one of the things that I learned the most about, because in my real life I love to talk. Person, and I would see him in every scene, important or not important, whatever. He would always be silent, and that's something that I started to do, and that took with me. after the movie.
Michael and Tyler, I heard that you two learned Spanish in order to work with your actors and your crew.
Yeah.
Woo!
That's one of the benefits
Full method.
of the
Good.
pandemic is we had a couple years to just study language. So I'd set my alarm for 5 a.m. and I'd do the computer stuff, and then I'd get on. I had a tutor, and I was getting sort of language practice from many parts of the world. So when I showed up to the Dominican Republic, and the Cuban cast, by the way, like didn't speak English at the time. So Eros has learned English in the time since we finished shooting. Because he was like, okay, I'm done with the movie. What do you want me to do now? We're
You're like a press tour.
yeah, like, no, seriously, like your job now is to do Q&As and press. And also, if you can act in multiple languages, you can get more jobs.
Right.
So like Eros did it way faster than I did it. But to be speaking Spanish in the Dominican Republic, hanging off the side of a truck, shooting a motorcycle, and directing in Spanish was like a dream come true. It was really cool.
Eros, how did they do?
They did amazing.
Okay.
They did amazing. They were great.
There was some accent making fun of.
Yeah.
They said I sounded crazy. And then at the end, they're like, you do sound pretty cool. Like, you're not quite Cuban cool, but you sound Mexican, which is still pretty cool.
Okay.
And Tyler, Michael, did you have a hard time understanding the Cuban Spanish?
No, I mean, you can speak to this. Eros and I had a great
Emotional connection.
Yeah, I admittedly, when I would get excited and I needed to get words out fast, I just couldn't. I could speak in Spanish slowly, and sometimes you're losing light, and I would be, I need you to do this, and I just would speak in English, and somehow, I mean, you tell the story really well.
Like, I remember, and I love telling this story, in the scene where Maria leaves, Tyler was like just going crazy, and as he said, it's kind of hard speaking another language when you're at that pace. And
I was explaining to him a breakup I had and that had happened to me, and I was just telling him in English. I was like, "This happened to me," and I showed him a photo of the woman, and I was like, "I'm still heartbroken. It still crushes me every day." Like, and he was just like, "See."
Yeah, because at that time I didn't know a word of English, so I didn't intellectually knew exactly what he was telling me, but I emotionally got it,
And admittedly, it's kind of a sweet thing. He put his head, when he grabs his head and pulls it down and puts it in his lap, and the tears start flowing off his eyes. In the script, it wasn't like that at all. That was just an improv moment, and I remember thinking, well, that's not going to work because he should try to hide that secret longer, and this breaks a secret, and now Paco will know that something was up. And then I was like, but sometimes things work and they don't work at the same time, and we didn't really change it. And then we got into the edit, and it just worked perfectly. And it was like he just allowed himself to feel those emotions and trusted himself to go to that place, because I had gone to that place with him, and he just was like, that's what I felt, and maybe that's what he told me to do. And that scene to me is one of the most special in the movies.
Yeah.
The movie.
Yeah.
So, you shot in the Dominican Republic, and your production designers created the set, the entire sort of.
Like some of it was there.
Oh, okay.
So they built the barn, they built the bungalows, the larger building where the doctor is sort of explaining the repercussions and the experimental treatment, that was there. But the hay barn, the other things were built, and that allowed us to be really specific to make it Cuban, and even with the plant-based roofs and the types of wood that were used for siding was all very intentional to make it specific to Cuba as well.
So when you're on this set and you have this group of people, I mean, it must have felt a little bit like the story you were telling anyway. Like, it's just this group of people making something creative, like you're all kids at camp or something.
Yeah, I mean, Eros, what was it like for you to be in the hotel?
It was the best. It was the best. We had so much food. We were next to each other. It was like the whole experience of Los Frikis. And I just realized this doing a podcast for the movie today. Like, we had exactly the same experience as Los Frikis had. They moved on from a very bad place to the sanatorium. And we did kind of the same thing. Almost none of us had left Cuba before shooting the movie, and we were leaving Cuba to the Dominican Republic to have this massive experience and this leveling up our life experience for like 2 months. So we really got to leave that, you know.
I love as a director and writer. I love even with Peanut Butter Falcon. Like, I take a lot of joy in acts of service and providing like a place for Zach Gottsagen, who has Down syndrome, to be a star of a movie was one of the highlights of my life, and to provide an opportunity to bring 24 Cubans over and get to see them have this experience was also like now a new highlight of my life. It was the best 4 or 5 months of my life because I got to be in service to a group of people that I just love these guys so much, and it was I think moving forward as a director, I think I will still carry that light of like how can we provide service for people.
No, it seems like a very unique kind of way to make movies, and I'm curious, Tyler, Michael, like what your sort of co-directing style is like. Is someone more on one aspect of things, or are you equally sharing everything together?
We just both do it all. There's no like division of labor. There's not one person that's with the actor and one person that's with the camera. We just talk about the story a lot. We've usually talked about the story for a few years before we're there. So Tyler might talk to Eros, and I might be talking to Hector, and it might switch on the next scene. And then if we do ever disagree, which is like very rare, 1% of the time, we have a system where if you disagree, you have to talk about how much you care on a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay.
And the rule, you have to be honest. So if you say like, I care about this, and Tyler disagrees, he says, how much do you care? And I go, like a 7.
And I'm like, dude, I only care a 4. Let's do the 7.
Yeah. So then whoever has the highest score, we do it that way.
It's very smart.
Interesting,
As long as you're telling the truth about it, and you're not like being like, well, I care at 9. You know, like it's a very healthy way to handle relationships. 10. Yours always a 10.
And as I understand it, this was also your DP's first film.
Wow.
Yeah, we wanted to, again, I think we love providing opportunities for people that haven't had shots. I think that's probably rooted in, I was an actor for many, many, many years, and I never really got a shot. I got like a couple national commercials, that was my thing. And I really, as a writer-director, wanted to provide opportunities for people that didn't get shots. And Santi, it's a big deal for me, to be super honest. It's a really big deal. It's to be an actor in this city it takes a lot. I was talking to some of you guys about that. It just takes so much, and it actually makes me well up to tears. But Santi had never shot a film before. He had done some music videos, and just same thing. I was like, this kid's he's got an eye. He's doing really good work. I saw a picture of him hanging out of a truck with a camera, shooting a guy on a bike in New York City, and oftentimes the people that haven't had the shots are the people that come in hungry. And if you come in hungry, you're dying to do good work, and you're dying to give it all. And sometimes the guys have had a shot are a little bit there for not always, by the way, but sometimes those guys are like, I love a paycheck. And there's nothing wrong with that either. But I think we really were excited about, man, let's hire people that are going to be really hungry for this. So we gave Santi the shot. I remember he wrote a letter and we called him like, you got it? And he was like, no, I was up against, this guy, that guy, this guy, that guy. And we were like, yeah, but you have a photo of you hanging out of a truck. And he was like, and I think he did a great job. I'm so proud of him.
It's beautifully photographed. Eros, what was it? I mean, did you and Santi have kind of what was your relationship with Santi as the DP? I mean, obviously you're working so much. Was he operating the camera? And it's both your first movie. I mean, did you ever talk about that with him, or what was the working relationship you established?
I think we became we became closer after the movie was done, because we were, both of us, so focused on like getting this right that we didn't even think about it.
Okay.
Just like, but after the movie was done, it's like, he's amazing. He's the best. He's beautiful.
I'll also say for the actors, we love actors, so we were like, Santi, just light the scene, light the whole room. We're going to let people go wherever they want and kind of say what they want, and we're not going to tie people down. We're going to bring them in, walk the room, And if somebody decides to go over here and sit in a chair and have a moment, then we're gonna shoot that, and we're gonna really create an opportunity. Because I was an actor, and I always wanted someone to be like, hey, I always feel like when you hit marks, it can feel really inauthentic, and I was like, I don't want people thinking about hitting marks. I want people thinking about bringing the most authentic emotion you can. Yeah, and so like he was like, really? And I was like, yeah, like that's just follow him. So like Santi just kind of was. We called him Santi Specials, and we were like, just follow. If these guys move, you move. If you want to, like if it's shaky, it's fine. It'll feel authentic. But like, as long as the performance is like, even in Peanut Butter Falcon, there's shots that are completely blurry, not because of it's a long story. But our DP on that was phenomenal. But the most authentic emotion came through on the one that was blurry, and you just go, we use it. We use it.
Were there any sort of happy accidents, or I don't know if I want to call it happy accidents, but sort of like little magical moments of sort of improvisation, or like, let's do it at this time of day, or anything like that you're just so happy ended up in the film? Maybe all three of you can share. Maybe it's all the same one, but
Yeah, I think we, in every scene, we're hunting for happy accidents, so that's why we don't rehearse. That's why we really encourage our actors to, like, if you know what the scene is and you know what the beats are, surprise us, surprise the other actors, get authentic reactions.
Make it yours.
Yeah, make it really different. And then even to our cast and crew, like every night at dinner, as part of Cuban culture, everybody would just sort of sing. And that wedding moment where they're all singing Lágrimas Negras at sunset was because we'd written it to have the wedding ceremony and then the nighttime party, and we were just sort of stopped down. And Santi is like, it's sunset right now.
To be fair, can I add? He came over screaming at us, and he was screaming, "It's an effing sunset! I'm not putting my camera away during an effing sunset, you guys!" And I was like, "This is why you hire the hungry guy."
Yeah.
And we were like, "Yeah, we knew that, dude. Like, we knew it's a sunset. We were just waiting for you to tell us." That it was a sunset." So, sorry.
Yeah, so we were just like, hey guys, that stuff you do at dinner, like, can we just do it, like we would do at a wedding? And it's now one of my favorite scenes, and it's the most sort of unrehearsed, authentic, like culturally accurate scene in the movie that we weren't planning on shooting, and it only happened because that's what happened at dinner every night, and it's what happened when Santi forced us to keep shooting.
And I remember Mike came over and gave me a big hug because sorry, I'm quite cry guy. I remember thinking I would never see a scene be shot that beautifully again. And I went and I sat and I leaned against a pole and I just started sobbing because I was like, I'll never see that again. Like, it was like, well, that's a once in a lifetime thing. And I was like, it was like watching alchemy and magic happen all at once. And I was like, to put 20 actors and just be like, do whatever you want, and have a cameraman and be like, do whatever you want, and then you're just watching it happen. You're just like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. And it was, oh God, like we went, yeah. And I sobbed. And I remember Mike came over and gave me a big hug, and he was like, you'll get to do it again. He's like, we work hard, you'll get to do it again. Yeah. Maybe what's yours?
My moment would be the first time me and Paco see each other in the sanatorium.
oh,
That was a big happy accident because we didn't talk to each other for like 3 days before shooting. It was the first scene that we shot together. We never had acted together before. That was the very first one.
wow.
And we just got there, and that scene just became something that I wasn't expecting it to be.
Yeah.
Like, when I read it, I thought, okay, this is gonna be just one of those. But then we got to do it, and it became like, wow, So that would be my happy moment.
And did you rehearse it, or was like shoot it a couple times? Like,
No, we didn't rehearse it. We just got there. We knew our lines, and we did it.
that's amazing.
That's it.
And what was it like for you two as directors watching your two guys come together?
Check the gate, call it a day.
You're like lunch.
We actually did have a lot because we would get it so quick. We had, and I know all directors are like, we never have enough time, we never have enough money, but we had enough time. We shot the bike race just because we were like, we have a half a day. Let's just shoot something cool and do a bicycle race. And like even the dog that shows up, the dog that's in the whole movie, we had a rule that because there were dogs everywhere and pigs, and we just had a rule. We were like, never shoo away any animals. Just let them do whatever they want. They can come into scenes. And that dog, Morena, showed up every day. Would just lay down and start yawning, and we'd get B-roll of that. And yeah, it was like. It was we had
Well,
time.
it was also crazy because there were like 40 dogs, and the 39 dogs stayed with the crew because that's where the food was.
Yes.
Morena wanted to perform. Like that one dog went in front of the camera. All the other dogs were behind the camera. Yeah.
And that one dog is technically in more scenes than most actors. It's crazy. There's scenes where we were watching and I didn't even know, and like when they bust out of the cabin, when they're asking for the instruments, Morena's there and she's like, and she looks scared too. And I'm like, oh, it's hilarious. I didn't even know Morena was on she was just quietly laying on the porch and the coolest thing is she never left, so we never had any continuity errors. She would lay down and she would stay until we left, and then it was like a true gift from a higher power.
Yeah.
I was like, this is like there's something watching over this film for sure.
Morena.
Well, it feels magical and blessed in a certain way, just with your actors and the process and the story. So, thank you guys all for being here, for talking about it.
I'm really grateful for this audience. It's nice to be an actor talking to actors.
I will also say in closing, like thank you for coming. It's a very small independent movie, and part of what makes small independent movies work is word of mouth and like rating on all the apps and sharing on social media. This movie comes out in New York and LA December 20th.
Okay.
So LA is very important to this movie, and then it expands after that to Miami, San Francisco, and others. But please wear your T-shirts like every day, and just tell everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you.
indeed. Thank you guys.